All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So my buddy Paul Esden recently shared this little bit of information from Jeremy Fowler of ESPN regarding Aaron Rodgers, right, a possible trade. And as we all know, according to Chris Mortensen and Adam Schefter of ESPN, a trade from both sides, Green Bay and Rodgers, it seems a little bit more realistic. Both parties understand that it could happen. And they also went on to add that the Packers actually might get rid of a couple key players that might not sit well with Rodgers. He doesn't want to be a part of a rebuild. He kind of, obviously wants to win now, considering his age, 39 years old. So I get it from Rodgers' perspective. I totally agree. And of course, from Green Bay's perspective, they have Jordan Love sitting behind him, former first-round pick. But anyway, looking at Jeremy Fowler's statement here, he said, "We don't know the list of teams just yet. It's very early, but we know that Aaron Rodgers does not want a rebuilding situation. That will eliminate some of the teams, so he's due that $58 million. A team has to be willing to rework that. But you look at a team like the Jets, the expectation is that they're going to scour the earth for a new quarterback potentially. So any of those teams will look into this possibility. They're not rebuilding anymore. They're probably ready to win." So man, super interesting stuff here. Again, shout out to my buddy Paul. His YouTube channel and his Twitter will be linked down below in the description box. But just thinking about Rodgers wearing green next season, jet green, gets me fired up. I don't think it's a stretch to say that you insert Rodgers into this lineup, the Jets are a Super Bowl threat. They can make it to the championship game and knock off whoever it may be, the Bengals, the Bills, the Chiefs. I don't see that as this weird hypothetical stretch like, it's just in my imagination. Of course, they would have to fix a couple positions. What's going on with safety? What's going on with strong side linebacker? Will Quincy Williams be brought back? Offensive line is another one. And of course, whenever you're talking about Rodgers, you got to bring up that $60 million and ask yourself, if this deal isn't reworked, if Rodgers doesn't want to negotiate or try to restructure a deal, how much money would the Jets actually have in trying to fix these positions, if any? You take, because the Jets are not in a situation like the Chicago Bears where they got like $100 million in cap space and it's like, no problem, we could just bring in anybody. It's like the Jets have their work cut out for them with the cap. You also factor in the Quinnen Williams situation, the extension. According to, right now it's looking like Williams wants around $21 million annually. And he wants that done this offseason. Okay, so that's something that Joe Douglas has obviously got to think about. And you do look at the quarterback position and you look at the amount of pressure on Saleh, on Joe Douglas. These guys they have to land a quarterback. And again, according to Fowler here, the expectation is that they're going to scour the earth for a new quarterback. So whether that's a Rodgers, whether that's whoever, Lamar Jackson, a Derek Carr, a Jimmy Garoppolo, the Jets are going to land somebody. I think the question is, who's it going to be and what's it going to take to go land that guy? And that could be the deciding factor. Time, package, what's it going to take? Like for a guy like Derek Carr, for example, the time's ticking. The Raiders have got to make a move. If they want to trade him, if they have teams calling they're realistic about like they're for real about trading him, they have to move him before mid-February, February 12th. I think it's the 14th. It could be early to mid-February. The Raiders have got to move on from Carr. Does Joe Douglas want to play the waiting game? Does he want to roll the dice and say, you know what, we're all in with Rodgers, but now we have to compete against these teams, and it could be, it could drag on forever and ever, and we just don't know what Green Bay is going to do? Or do they just want to lock in a guy like Derek Carr and maybe just give up a middle round pick? So there's a lot of question marks, but I think the good news for Jets fans and really everybody on the Jets team, there's going to be an upgrade at the quarterback position this offseason. That is massive. But going back to Rodgers here, people say, he hasn't had, he's not coming off a great season through double-digit interceptions, 12 to be exact. But, overall, we look at Rodgers' body of work this season, it wasn't, that bad compared to what the Jets had. I mean, for perspective, Rodgers threw for 26 TDs, again, 12 INTs, just under 3,700 passing yards with a completion percentage at 64.5. That is not bad. You compare that to a guy like Zach Wilson, 6 touchdowns, 7 picks, under 2,000 passing yards. Mike White, 3 touchdowns, 4 picks. Like, you take that's like those stats alone, minus Aaron Rodgers' accuracy, minus Aaron Rodgers' quick release, his deep ball accuracy, his mobility, his ability to bring magic into extending plays, all that playmaking ability down the field, like all of these different traits that Rodgers brings to the table. You could take away all that stuff and just flip these numbers, get Zach Wilson and Mike White's combined stats out and put Rodgers' stats in. I mean, you are looking at a playoff team in the New York Jets. Like, that's for real. And it's kind of, it makes me a little disappointed knowing what the season could have been if either Wilson or White, would have been the absolute solution. But at the end of the day, here we are. And again, I know Rodgers is having a down season by his standards, but those are respectable numbers for sure. And another trait that I feel like doesn't get talked about enough when talking about Rodgers, of course, like there's so many good things to talk about, but the durability. The durability needs to be talked about. Rodgers has not missed a game despite him being, in the 39 years old now, 38, 30. He has not missed a game since 2018. The last handful of seasons, he's played every single game. And that's something that the Jets need. I mean, think about all the injuries all over the roster, all of the inconsistencies, specifically at the quarterback position. This year, Wilson, White, Flacco, we saw Streveler. Last season, multiple quarterbacks. It's been an issue, right? Josh McCown, Bryce Petty, Geno Smith, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like, there's always guys shuffling in. We don't have that year to year to year guarantee he's our guy. And Rodgers would provide that. He really would. So it's just something to think about. Really interesting, though, from Jeremy Fowler, how we just, out of all the teams out there that need a quarterback, it's the Jets. That's the team that's scouring the earth. That's the team that I'm going to talk about here, linked to Aaron Rodgers. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. And as always, go Jets.